Hi, I'm Doug Hart, creator of Plant Wow. Thank you very much for showing interest and or purchasing one of my Plant Wows. It's very important for me to make this video to help you be successful. Let me show you what I've learned over the last 3 or 4 years as I trialed and with Plant Wows in my own yard to make sure that this concept would really work. 36 years ago I went to work for my grandparents in their little greenhouse business. And since then, gardening, growing flowers has pretty much become my life. I started thinking a few years back on how to make the gardening experience easier. You know, my mom just turned 80 years old this year, and she's always been an avid gardener, but she's starting to slow down. And yes, she has a son that can do it for her, but I'm no spring chicken anymore either. So 3 years ago, I started with an idea, and I asked a company to make me a pot out of recycled newspaper. It included 9 big holes in the bottom, not for drainage, but for the roots to get out. Then what I did is I started selecting plants that had strong root systems, great performers, plants that I'd been using for several years that I was very confident in that you would be successful with. And so when I came up with the right plants in the right pot, and then I grew them in my own yard for 3 years because I didn't want to offer this to someone if it was not something that would work for everybody. So I've got my Plant Wows. They are great for planters, hanging baskets, and landscape. And we'll talk about the landscape installation and usage in a little while. But right now I've got a planter over here that I've filled full of potting mix. I've watered it real well. It's important on any transplants to start with your plants well watered, because watering for the first 2 or 3 weeks is going to be your biggest challenge in being successful. So that once I watered my planter and I watered my plant well good, all I do is I place it, make sure that it's level. I give it a little twist just to make sure that we seal up that point where the bottom of the pot meets the potting mix or the soil in your flower beds. So once I'm done with that, then I will just give it some more water. Again, water is really, really important in the beginning. And remember that for the first couple weeks you're watering the Plant Wow. After that, you'll be putting most of the water into the larger planter itself, because the roots are going to be down in that planter. From my experience, you can expect those roots to go 6, 8, 10, 12 inches down into the bottom of that planter. Baskets are a great place to use Plant Wows too. You know, whether you've got a nice basket that you picked up somewhere or you got as a gift, and you don't want just the plain old basket that the hanging baskets may be sold at retail. And so I take a Plant Wow and I put some mix in the bottom of my basket to start with. And again, soil volume is important. The more soil volume you got, the more water it will hold when you water. So don't skimp on soil volume. Now this planter is big enough that I actually still have a little bit of extra room that I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit more soil all the way around. Again, just so that I've got more water holding capacity. Now don't fill your basket all the way up. It's important to make sure that you got an inch or two of water holding capacity, in your larger basket. In a little smaller basket, again, real simple. Just put some soil in the bottom and take a Plant Wow and just set it in there, get it centered, make sure it's level. It's really as simple as this. And then just put your hanger on. Now, it's important to also fertilize these plants because I've picked vigorous ones. They're big eaters. And so you want to use a water-soluble fertilizer, any brand you want. Now this one recommends that you use 1 teaspoon in a gallon of water every 2 to 4 weeks. With my Plant Wow plants, I would actually recommend that teaspoon in a gallon once a week. Again, the more you feed them, the more they're going to grow, the more flowers they're going to put on, and you know, it takes a lot of energy to really put on that spectacular show. So, as simple as that, you've got yourself a nice plant wow basket that will soon, within 2-3 weeks, begin trailing over the side. With your adequate water and fertilizer, you will simply be wowed by what you can end up with. Okay?